Hello, hello. Let's see if anybody shows. There's my kitty kitty. Come here. Come here, buddy. Yeah, Mr. Jax. How's it going? Hello, I see I have one person that have joined. Welcome to Hump Day Happy Hour. Check this out, Jenny. How's it going tonight? Hope you're having a great night. How's it going, Jeff? This is one of my druzy pieces from the Mohawk Valley Mineral Mine in New York. Beautiful color. Look at that point in the middle there. That's quite beautiful. And how are you guys doing tonight, Jeff and Jenny? You out there driving, Jeff? They had quite a few of these druzy pieces. Just had to bust them out of the rock. Yeah, we are, Jenny, huh? I ended up with quite a few good pieces like this. This one's the most colorful. In Alabama. And then the backside's just complete host rock. With crumbs still falling off them. I literally just got done washing them. A nice Mississippi and Louisiana tomorrow. It's a lot of driving. Here's another piece. Right now I'm in Davenport, Iowa, in a buddy's driveway doing my live right now. Davenport is a bottom right-hand corner of Iowa, right on the Mississippi River. With some really cool crystal points there. This is one of them that'll get this front face trimmed off just to leave the plate there so it can, weigh a lot less. It'll be down the road a little bit, but yeah, look at that point stick off the top there. And it is fully formed. Same with that guy right there. Another great crystal. And there's this cool little piece. water clear crystals on that thing. Look at that. That's better focus. I like the tiny little points too. They're just so cool. You can see right there how there's crystals inside that rock. A little bit on the backside too. Yeah, Jenny, it was $100 plus a $25 yearly membership, and you pay the yearly once, and the $100 is per day, unless you decide to buy 5 digs or 10 or 15 digs. And the more digs you get, the little bit cheaper it does get, which is kind of cool. But I was only in the mood for 1 day of digging, especially after all the driving and all the digging I'd done for 2 weeks before that. By the end of that day, cold, wet, rainy, I was exhausted. Yeah, I never saw how Chris did at the mine. That was probably before I was a member to his channel. Here's another strange piece. All kinds of quartz in it, just a different structure. It came off a much bigger piece. But as I tried to chisel around it and away from it, it just ended up breaking off into smaller and smaller pieces. So I decided to stop hitting it with a hammer and a chisel and keep a piece. Yeah, digging's exhausting, especially when you do it a bunch. Hello, Opal G. Good to see you here. Showing off a few pieces from the Mohawk Valley Minerals in Spraker, New York. I was there a couple days ago. Here's what once was a good Herkimer piece. Come on, focus. It's been broken a little bit, and it's feels like fresh break, not so much rehealed. I'm pretty sure it wasn't me that broke it. It would just come out of the ground that way. Still a cool looking piece with some nice features in it. There's another druzy piece. All kinds of little tiny points in there. Some of these took a lot of hitting with the hammer. Some of the host rock is crumbly, but like for the most part, this style of rock here is just solid. But some of the pieces on this one are a tad bit crumbly, and that is so fractured up I could start chipping it away with my fingernail. And as you can see, little pieces are still falling off. And there's a couple pieces like that, but for the most part, the host rock is 100% tough. I spent about 7 hours there digging, and it probably rained 4 of those hours kind of light, but it was only low 50s for the temperature. So as soon as you got a little wet, it got actually super chilly. And of course, you're covered in mud because you're all crawling through it and looking and digging and I didn't really find any in the limestone. I did some chipping away at the wall and kind of looking that way, but I just didn't have any luck. These rocks were just laying all over the ground. You just had to flip them over and find the right piece of druzy. Nice little point right there in the middle. Of course, there's multiple points there, but you can really see that one in the right angle. Come on. And then this one has a little bit more right there in the seam fashion. And then a little bit more right there on the other side of it. Not so well defined. Definitely love it though. That's beautiful. I don't know how well be able to see that, but some nice color to those points. Probably just the mud, because the color of those is the same color as the mud that was everywhere we were digging, and became more and more mud as we got more and more rain, of course. That's just how that goes, we know. But yeah, all kinds of little points in that guy too, with some druzy on top of it. Yeah, the place I went was Mohawk Valley Minerals, and of course there's quite a few different mines in the area now. They're realizing that there's Herkimers everywhere underneath there in that general area. And here's a little bit of a specimen. It's got a bit of a Herkimer right there with the druzy in it and around it. And that's another one that'll get some trim work to make it a smaller, more displayed piece. I checked on a couple, and one of them was $250 with a $500 crystal fine limit, and then Mohawk was $100 plus their membership of $25. And that one's kind of unique. You see the pattern going on. This was part of the other chunk I just showed, just a lot bigger. Got a little more lucky with the hammer and chisel on this one. Some nice growth lines in there. Yeah, you can see them a little bit. Feels really weird on that part. Here's another one of the cooler ones. And they could still use a little bit more cleaning. I just gave them a quick scrubbing with water. I bet a little light oxalic acid wash would probably do them pretty good. But that's a nice crystal there. And it does grow into a point up into the rock. Yeah, so they went to Mohawk. That's pretty cool. Like I said, I never saw how they did. Did they get some big giant ones, or people pay to do guided digs where the professionals come in and they know where the pockets are almost? And I've seen 3 to 4 really good size ones, really good size ones, and a couple of them fit back together. That was pretty cool. Unfortunately, I didn't take any footage of it. Did they go for multiple days? That's another thing that would help out too, is if you just spent 3 days at it instead of one. This one's got quite a bit going on as far as the little druzy stuff. Hey Chris, how's it going? Showing off some of my Mohawk Valley finds. This is the last one that I was just showing. Thanks for showing up. I hope you're having a great night. Gotcha, Jeff. This one's got a couple little sections on it. Yeah, Chris, I'm quite happy with these druzy pieces that I got. And I was saying earlier that you just had to flip over the rocks and they were just poking out. You'd smash them up and get them broke as best you could to get the specimens out that you wanted. It was actually quite easier than digging through the mud and all the tree roots and everything you had to go through to get to where the crystals might be. Focus. And then there's a little tiny section on the other side of that rock. kind of insignificant. That would be cool, Jenny. And here's one of the actual Herkimers I found. A little guy, but super clear. Got a beautiful point on it there. And then that's actually a little fresh damage on the bottom point with a little key mark in it right there. I don't know how well I'll be able to help you see that. But yeah, tiny little guy just popped out of the dirt. Then this little baby chunk of broken popped out and started sparkling. Super tiny guy. And then this piece here was much bigger. It was like 3 inches wide with all of that on it. And it was the end of the day and the last smack with the hammer. And the truck came back to take us up to the parking lot. And I was like, yep, I've had enough. I'm leaving. I was soaked to my knees, muddy, all the way up and down. My butt was wet. Coat was wet because it had been raining for the last 2 hours. And rained multiple times. Like, yep, I've been chilled to the bone for at least 2 hours solid. It's time to go do something else. How's it going, Will? Good to see you here. These are my Mohawk Valley mineral finds as best as I could do for the day. Here's a bit bigger one with plenty of druzy in it, but a lot darker druzy. It'd probably benefit from some oxalic acid. But all that underneath that dark area there is crystals. Oh yeah, I just, like I said, I did the best I could. There was a lot of area to pick from. And getting down and deep enough was the key. And digging into the side of the hill. I probably dug a 4-foot deep hole, about 4 foot wide, and I had moved back into the wall about 4 feet. And all I had found was the little guys. So I kind of abandoned. Yeah, I like this one. I just want to see what it looks like after it's been soaked a bit. See how much more of those sparklies pop out. And then here's one of the bigger ones for the day. Good color, good shape. Nice, good point. Slight damage. How's it going, Barbara? How you doing? And then here's the other side of that one. How do I hold it? There we go. Some good shape on the end of it. It doesn't appear to be broken. Just grown in a funny finished end instead of a point. There's like a little key mark right there on that. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah, multiple heads and they're all finished. So technically it's a double terminated. About the size of a quarter maybe total. Yeah, Jeff, I'm done with digging for this vacation. I'm not digging anymore. I believe that the energy is there. I don't try to charge them up, Jenny, but I try to release the positive energy that I try to keep with me into them so that they hold on to it for me and give it back when I need it. That's for sure. And that's a beautiful double terminated. Once again, a little damage on the backside, but both points are perfect and just super clear. Very happy, even though I got some little guys. It was completely fun. Glad I did it. Yeah. Jeff, I have planned for Saturday to stop by. I'm leaving here in Iowa on Friday, and it'll take a lot more driving, another 15-hour day of driving with probably 4 hours of driving in the morning, but I will be in the Billings area, and I will be checking many different spots along the river. I'll have about 8 hours to do so before I gotta drive 5 hours more at night, and that'll leave me with about a 4-hour or 5-hour drive back to get home to work on Monday. I'll be back Sunday, I guess around 2 o'clock if I take my time on the last day. And we will call that one hell of a vacation. And a lot of fun, even though I missed out on the get a hold of Travis, Jeff. I'll hit up 406. And a couple of those, yeah, Barbara, they could be faceted to be turned into beautiful pieces to wear. Go into a, a ring or something of that nature. I like this guy. It's another one. I'll trim the face of it off just to keep the specimen piece. Hope that there's no fractures and any more damage after that. Yeah, I like that big old guy right there in the middle. Very pretty. The entire rest of it, as far as I know, is host rock. But there's quite possibly another pocket inside this rock without even me knowing it. And then for the top herc of the day, happens to be this beautiful ugly thing. It's got a full point up here, and it's got all the druzy on the bottom. Turn it around, it's got all these multiple crystal growths on it. And then that, which will require a soak, but they're like re-healed points. It was so unique. I haven't seen a lot of Herkimers, but that's the first time I've seen anything like that. So cool. That'll be one that stays in my collection for quite a while. Another piece that's just going to require a soak because they're quite dirty in there, and I could only get so much of the dirt off. How's it going, Allison? Thanks for stopping by. Showing off some dirty Herkimer druzy at the moment. This one's not so good as, say, this next one. I would have to say close to the top for my druzy Herkimers. So sparkly. Little Herkimer rim and everything. Totally cool. That's what I said when I picked it up. And how's it going, Soul? And this guy was completely clean, just like that. I might have actually added dirt when I tried to wash it and make it a little bit more dingy. It was super white when I picked it up and started smacking on it a little bit. And then the backside has that, which could use a soak. There's little crystals in that all over. Then there's the little pocket here on the backside. That would benefit from a little soaking too. And then there's this side of it. Maybe I already showed that. Yeah, I did. I remember that crystal up there. But yeah, so weird. Unique piece. Glad it worked out when I smacked it with the hammer. I have not used it yet, Jenny, and I just picked up my first 1 pound bag of it at the Ron Coleman gift shop. They were selling them, so she said to mix about a cup per gallon of water, and she wanted me to heat stuff, but I think just soaking it in the acid, give it a week-long soak or something. That should be plenty good for what I'm looking for. I don't feel like heating them up over, several hours and taking the chance of breaking something or getting them too hot, cooling them down too fast. And hopefully that works without cooking them. Maybe they require the heat and I just don't know that. But I'll definitely be doing experiments because I have a lot of crystals that are in need of a soak after being in Arizona or Arkansas. The Arkansas ones, quite a few of them have a lot of rust staining. I think that's it for this piece. A soak might reveal there's lots of sparkly on the back, as you can see. So maybe there's something underneath all that rough exterior that I just can't tell. How's it going, Melissa? It actually works out better for me in the van sitting the way I am. With the horizontal platform, I'm just, this big in the screen and you can't see my mouth, or you can see my mouth, but you can't see my eyes. I'll have to plan a Kentucky trip down the road sometime. Let's see, what do I got? One more? Yeah, another big chunk that I just wasn't sure what to do with. I wanted to keep it, and it's got a little bit of something right there. There's a couple good crystals in it. And then there's that hole there. There are crystals in it, but I'm gonna have to figure out how to cut it and what way to cut it to maybe reveal some of that goodness. Now, on this format right now, I'm zoomed out all the way. And when I tried the horizontal, there I was zoomed out all the way, and still it was like watching me like this. I couldn't zoom out, and I can only lean back so far, and I have a limited space with the steering wheel that I keep you guys propped up on for these lives. And then I'm just sitting in the minivan, in the driver's seat. Yeah, totally cool. I'll get, well, now I'm all zoomed in again. But yeah, I'll get to work on this within a week, maybe two, of when I get back to Oregon. I'm getting ready to buy my saw. I've got the money in the bank right now, and I got paycheck coming in, and gonna get started on that. Start doing some cutting and some polishing. We'll go back through some of the ones I showed off in the beginning, just because some people probably haven't seen. And I like the color in that guy. Work, schmirk. It's a pain in the ass, but we all have to do it. Jax, you're blocking my light, kitty kitty. That kind of helps a little. Shows off the color a little better and ain't all washed out. Yeah, so sparkly. It sounds like a cool necklace, Ma. A solar system. That sounds like it would be interesting. These came from New York, from the Mohawk Valley Mineral Mine. The same one the crystal collector goes to all the time and does his digging. And there's been several other people that have done YouTube videos about it. I didn't get much for video because I was digging and not really paying attention and finding things very slowly, so. Yep, definitely. I spent an entire day digging. It was it was fun, but it was raining a little bit, and it was also a little bit chilly. There we go. That's better. Put a little sunscreen or sunshade in the window. After digging for about 4 hours, I resorted to breaking open rocks because it was slightly easier than digging. Yeah, Muff, you post it on Discord. I think we'll all see it pretty well. Definitely a beautiful rock with more on the back. Yeah, and these are just a simple water wash so far. So I was really shocked at how clean they came, especially with the color of mud that was just caked all over them. Some of these pieces, all I could do, like on this one, I couldn't see any of that. I could just see few sparkles, and then I could feel the little points underneath the mud. There was nothing I could do on site to get any kind of that mud off there because there just wasn't a bunch of water around at the time. So I was kind of guessing at some of these pieces. I had no idea about this one. I thought it was just that little thing there. That's what I was actually keeping. The other piece there, that was completely covered in mud. I had no idea till I washed it off today. Focus. And of course, that's a nice little bonus there. And little itty bitty ones would be nice, a whole jar of them. It'd be pretty. You're welcome, Barbara. It's been a couple good weeks for finding quartz crystals and these Herkimers. And that's it on that one. This one will get a trim job like I was talking about earlier. Do a little cut across here and just try to keep that piece intact. Make it a nice little shelf piece. Very nice. I'm renting a car in Arkansas. Are you going to Crystal Mines, Barbara, to do some mining? And how's it going, Brian? How are you doing? And Soul, in case I didn't say hi to Soul, how are you tonight? And that's another piece with just the one section on it. Here's my funky Herkimer again. Right on, Barbara. A YouTube meetup in Crystal and Diamond area. You going to the Crater of Diamonds State Park in Arkansas, Barbara? I should have went there instead of trying to do Graves Mountain. I tried to go to Graves Mountain right after Arkansas, and they said that they were closed because they were having a big dig event on the 22nd of this month, and that they wouldn't have let me go by myself anyway because it's too dangerous. I was a little ticked off about that, but I didn't call early. I called the morning of the day I wanted to go, and so I just kind of missed out on all kinds of information. I should have called about a week before that. I could have altered my plans easily instead of already being in Georgia. Yeah, I like this piece. Very unique. Very cool. I'll be putting some of these pieces on light like I've been doing with other videos and making a video out of them the best I can. There's this guy again with the Herkimer sticking out of it. And a bunch of other little guys. Very cool. All All of them so clear and shiny and sparkly. I didn't even hear about hog mine, Jeff. You like that one, Chris? That's beautiful. That was one I wanted to do too. Soul and Barbara was Haunted Ridge. Sometimes when I'm traveling and not planning things and just winging it, I get so excited that I forget about certain things. Cross-country train ride would be a lot of fun. And all that extra time to be riding up in the viewing car, watching the beautiful scenery go by you. What would be cool, Barbara, is if you could set it up where it took you to certain rockhound locations where you could rockhound for a day and then get back on and start traveling. That would be kind of cool. Thanks, Ma. Yeah, like I said, they were so dirty. There were some of them I was like, do I take it? Do I take it? I've already got almost half a bucket. I've already got 2 5-gallon buckets from the other mines in Arkansas. Reaching the weight limit in the minivan. Here's the little baby Herkimer. Super clear, double point, double terminated. Especially living in a vehicle, Jenny. That's why I had to get a storage unit. I had over 200 pounds of rock in the minivan between agates and stuff I was purchasing from Kyle and all the obsidian. There's probably a solid 100 pounds of obsidian in here before I got my little tiny storage unit. And then, of course, the Super Baby. Broken on both ends, but still a nice clear crystal that looks cool. And then a weirdly double terminated for anybody that hadn't already seen. It's got those nice odd terminations. They're not breaks. Yeah, there's like, it's hard to see, but there's something right there as a point. There's an individual there as a point, and then there's an individual up top as a point. There's 3 of them fully formed. And it makes it look, see right there? Makes it look like key mark in there where there was another crystal. little bit of a crater there with some inclusion in it. And then, of course, the point, which is, as you can see, slightly damaged. But yeah, cool crystal. Definitely. And we could show the cave off again for anybody that didn't see. And my cats are shedding like crazy. We went from Oregon low temperatures to Arkansas hot temperatures, Florida hot temperatures, and now they're just fluff balling with hair coming out everywhere. All right, Ma, thank you, and have fun at work if you can. It's cool to get one little tiny point and then all the druzy. Yeah, I couldn't believe that this one was just laying there on top of all the rocks for everybody to see. And it just was finally me that picked it up. But this one has several things going on with it. It's got this backside, which I think needs a soak. And as you can see, there are little crystal points there. And then it's got the little pocket there. And a little corner of something going on there. But you can see the seam running through it down there and into there. There could be a whole pocket deep in there and I just don't even know it. I definitely had a great time. It'll probably be a while before I could ever get back to New York to do something like that again. And I tell you what, driving around in New York and all those states down there and across Ohio, I am not used to all the tolls. So I'm going to have tolls coming to me in the mail. I'm probably going to be calling New York quickly next week and figuring out how to pay tolls over the phone, and then all the states in between, because it seemed like everywhere I went, it was only 10 or 15 miles, it felt like, and I was passing another toll because I didn't see any of the signs coming up saying that there was a toll ahead. So all of a sudden, 75 miles an hour down the highway, 80 miles an hour, and it's like, toll's ahead. And then you literally, if you don't get on that toll ramp right there, you missed it. There is no forewarning from any of the tolls that I saw. Yeah, if you run through the tolls, they got photograph and they got video, they got your license plate, and right then and there they have access to everything that is associated with that license plate. When I did my California trip last year, I missed a few of the tolls, and then I think it was the tolls. Yeah, and I missed the Golden Gate Bridge. I crossed that, and it didn't say anywhere to stick your money to put the toll money in. But yeah, like a month and a half later, when I went and checked my mail, I had a nice little bill with late fees for crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. So if you don't step up and pay your tolls, then they will send them to you and they will put a late fee with every toll you passed, and it will get quite spendy. But I paid 10 bucks a toll coming across from New York through Ohio, and I probably paid 5 of those tolls properly. Fucking half a day's worth of travel cost me 50 bucks on the highways. It's a little ridiculous for the amount of taxes we pay. We should have perfect roads, and everywhere I've gone, 3/4 of the places have just crappy roads. Crappy roads. especially where I'm at in Davenport, Iowa. Their roads were terrible 5 years ago, and they have not done any more work to these roads. They are terrible. I find myself driving around town 25 miles an hour because you go any faster, it's going to seriously damage your vehicle. Stuff I'd never drive over faster than 10 miles an hour if I was out in the woods with my minivan. And I'm being forced to drive 35 and 40 miles an hour, keep up with traffic, and just front end tearing. Wham, 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 wham. It's horrible, horrible. It hurts to hear that on the van. Oh, and then I was given something today. I almost forgot. I traded some rocks today to a friend, and he decided to give me an Iowa geode, and I haven't even looked at it yet. I was waiting to do it on the channel for the live stream. He says it's amazing, and he's got quite a few rocks in his collection. Iowa, it sucks. That's why I moved from it. Oh, that's pretty cool. Ooh, and a little crystal fell out. That is an Iowa geode. Heck yeah, my first and only Iowa geode. Yeah, I'm pretty shocked, especially for just now first seeing it. Got some nice crystals in there. And from the way it looks broken, they probably put it in the big pipe chain machine and cracked it that way like you're supposed to. How's it going, Mr. Chubby Hubby? Hope you're having a good night. We are currently showing off an Iowa geode that was gifted to me just this morning. And there's the other half of it. That, and he gave me a couple of tiny chunks of chrysocolla. Nothing too significant. Can't really make anything out of them. They're just cool pieces. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that too. That's very cool. That should look good on my light stand, all set up properly so it's tilted into the light a little bit, and get some nice photos of it for my next on light video. And a perfect fit. And it blew out a little bit there though. Quite big too. Shocking. And I wouldn't have never thought, if I picked this up with how much that weighs, that it would have had a hollow center, because it literally feels like it weighs enough to be solid in the middle. When I was down in Daytona Beach, Florida just a few days ago, I picked up a couple of geodes at one of the gift shops. We charged $10 for one of them, and it was a rattler. It had multiple different crystals shaking around in it, and it had a little open hole at the top, so you could immediately see the crystals inside, and it was super light. So to me, it was worth the $10 price tag. And then the $5 one was about medium size, about half the size of it, and it was so light there's just no way there's not crystals inside of it. So when I get my saw, I'll attempt to cut those up. Nice. I had it together a minute ago. Okay. Alright, I'll put that back together later. And since Chubby Hubby just showed up, I'll go through and show some more of the Herkimer quartz druzy. Yeah, I hear that, Jeff. Plenty of geodes down in Kentucky. That's another thing I could have done had I planned on not going to Graves Mountain, because I planned ahead. I could have actually had plenty of time to swing up to Kentucky to do something. And I don't mind paying for things I can't find or get to yet. I was pretty stoked to find a little rock shop down there in Daytona. It was the only one I found that was relatively close. And for everybody else, I definitely did show off all my finds. Now, like I said, I'm just going to run through them again, and anybody that has recently showed up will get to see too. I leave here, Davenport, Iowa. I leave Friday morning, and I might even leave tomorrow night and get 4 or 5 hours in of driving after dinner, just because from Davenport to Montana is a 22-hour drive, and that'll leave me a 9-hour drive to get to Oregon from Billings, Montana area. Give me an entire Saturday to do hunting. Come on, focus. Gonna have to get most of these guys here wrapped up into some paper towels. They can't just be bouncing around for the ride home. There's too many small crystals. Hello, Cindy. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great night. These are druzy Herkimer diamond clusters, I guess is what they should be called. And they came from the Mohawk Valley Mineral Mine in Spraker, New York. Yeah, it's good to have you here, Cindy. I appreciate it. If any of us hasn't hit the like button, if you don't mind hitting the 3 dots and finding the like button, that would be much appreciated. And so when I go look at my channel, I've been accidentally deleting my lives. Does anybody know how to get those lives back so that I can keep them on my channel instead of having them erased? I don't know why I've been erasing them. It's just been a unconscious accident, like it's something that's not supposed to be there. And that one's got a little Herkimer sticking out of there. There's no point on it. Of course, it looks like a point, but I believe it's broken. Got more little crystals inside the pocket there. Are you talking to me, Brian? I do have YouTube Studio. I've been using it quite a bit to answer all my messages. So go to YouTube Studio, and then will that be where I find all my lives to regain them? Probably. I know that Joseph Rockin' Wheelers, he usually watches on a big screen, whoever he's watching. And let's look at this one again. No. No. Yeah, let's look at this one again. Brian, I was thinking about going into my my files where all your memories are, and you find your trash, and you can actually recover photos that you've deleted. I'm gonna look into that and see if maybe they're there under the regular old deleted items. That way I might be able to recover them and put them back. But I'm gonna have to remember from now on to stop deleting my lives, just in case somebody wants to watch in the future. Not saying anybody would, but you never know what people might watch. When I watch everybody else's stuff, I watch on my tablet, my 10-inch tablet, and I watch on my phone. Yeah, definitely, Chubby. I kind of noticed. So I'm kicking myself in the butt for deleting them, and then wondering, what the hell did you just do? You just deleted that for no reason. On that last piece, that single little right there in the middle, that guy. Or that guy up at the top. Both of them are pretty cool. Thank you, Cindy. I will check that out. Now, did you found that on YouTube when you asked YouTube how to get your lives back? Yeah, Jenny, that one's so cool. See if I can get in a little closer on it. Let's see, how does it look from this angle? There we go. That's a little better. Snaggle crystal. Cool. Yeah, Cindy, I'll check that out on Google here in the next day or two when I got some time. That's usually, instead of asking people, that's usually the second thing I go for is if all else fails, ask Google. It should have the info. Look at that perfect triangle light up there on one little tiny crystal. She's got one of them watching work jobs. She can do both at the same time, huh, Ma? Let's see. That guy back out. Yeah, and there are some good color in some of these. Like, of course, I mean, I'm bringing it back up. I already showed it, but this thing is phenomenal for color. Totally happy with it. And then the little specimen. Think about doing a little shaping on the host rock and then just turning it into a pendant. Of course, that might not be the greatest idea because I forgot it already that it's got a backside to it. Nice little pocket with some more crystals in it. That's pretty cool, Ma. A little protective for things you want to save because you value them the most. Time for me to step away and use the bathroom and have a little bit of a drinky poo, a sip of some Fireball. I'll be back in a minute. Oh, gotcha for the jewelry, Ma. Beep, beep, kitties. Beep, beep. Yeah, it's definitely been a great vacation. I didn't get to go to Maine either. I decided that it was more important to have a few days in Iowa extra because it was 22 hours and change to get from Deltona, Florida, all the way up to the tip of Maine where I wanted to be. Mr. Jax, come here. Come here, kitties. Want some treats? Yeah. Yeah, you want some treats, kitties. So yeah, I decided after New York to just bomb right over to Iowa and contact family, and had an awesome dinner with my Aunt Vic and my cousin John, Chris, Jimmy's girlfriend, her son, and my cousin Chris's wife and their son. What do you think, Mr. Jax? You want some treats now? Mr. Jax has become picky. Yeah, some good old family time. It's been 5 years since I've seen anybody here in the area. And then I'm going over to a same family, just different cousin's house. And he just said that we're having ribs and baked potatoes and all kinds of goodies. So tomorrow night before I leave town, I will eat well, hang out with them for one last time, because they're mostly the ones that have kept in contact. A few of the cousins are drug addicts, and Jack says no holding me. And my brother's just being weird, so he was all mad at me for showing up today. He's like, you didn't even call me. And I was like, you don't answer the phone. And you don't even have a phone. So I called your son. He was still all mad about it. It's like, whatever, bro. Good to see you for 2.5 seconds. I love all my cousins, but a lot of them went their own paths, and they're just not paths that I follow. You know, things change, you grow up, you get older, and some people change with those times for the better, and some change for the worse. And I'd rather have the better. So I'm gonna just kind of keep showing off the same rocks for a moment. I ran out of specimens to show. Well, that's plenty of family there, Cindy. Hopefully they're close to you and you get to see them quite often. Yeah, Jenny, the other paths are just ridiculous. Drugs are a waste of time for the most part, other than pot. And get the tail bomb in there from the kitty. Come here, Jax. Come say hi to everybody. Meow. This guy's spoiled. He wants the window down. So I put the window down for him, and he likes to sit like that. Whoa, what happened there? Mr. Jax. I hold on to his tail so he doesn't try to split. Mr. Jax. Meow. Meow. He loves hanging out in the window, though, when I let him. Sometimes he's just such a bug. He wants to go out. They've been in the van quite a long time. You know, they've come out on the leash. He wears his harness and he walks on a leash just fine, but just hasn't been enough. They're used to every night outside and free roaming, and so they will be very happy to get back. And Josh and Jackie hang out. I don't know what that means. Oh, yeah, Jackie, I'm in Iowa at the moment. Davenport, the Quad Cities. Are you in Iowa too and I didn't know? Yeah, we got Davenport, Bettendorf, Rock Island, and Moline for Illinois. Ah, you're up north. North in Iowa. Or South Iowa. Oh, gotcha, yeah. Old Jenny's in Minnesota too, aren't you, Jenny? If I remember correctly. I miss Minnesota. I want to come back. I want to do another entire summer there, but my life's a little different than it was when I did the last entire summer. Still doable, but I make pretty good money at my job, so I would need to be there all summer. Boss has been really good to me. So the kind of place I want to stay for a while. And of course, next winter I want to try and be a snowbird. I want to spend most of my time down in Arizona and Nevada. Be in that area to see my older brother in Southern California, be closer so I can drive there a lot more often. And then definitely be there past the Tucson Gem Show and all the gem shows that happen at the same time. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, they're definitely awesome. Each one their own unique piece. They'll look different once I get a saw after them, get all the extra host rock off them. Once again, the favorite. I'd love to see it with that all that black stuff off there. I hope it comes off when I soak it, because that is some unique formation underneath there. We'd have to pick up Jackie on the way to pick up Jenny. What? Soul and Jenny, you haven't hung out yet and you're in the same city? Dang near the same neighborhood? You guys got to meet up and do a live or do a dual video or something. There we go. You can really see that now. That's a much better angle. I've been having trouble typing in my chats vertical or horizontal. For some reason, the keyboard is just working slightly different than it did just a few months ago. I make a lot of mistakes now that I wasn't making just a few months ago, and my fingers haven't gotten any bigger. So the keyboard's acting much more different, and spell check is correcting me in a lot of wrong ways. End of the month. Nice. You guys are meeting up. Brian. I tell you what, guys, I'll do next week's. Next week's I'll be back home and bend, and I can stretch the chair out and I can lean way back like this to make it a little different. We'll do a horizontal next weekend. We'll see how that goes. Well, I'll be heading back to Oregon, Jenny. I won't be able to make it up into Minnesota. I will be in Montana Saturday to hunt for some of the Montana moss agates and anything else cool I might be able to find. But that one's going to take an extreme amount of driving, and then I will just have a short time during the day to do that, and more driving at night and more driving the next day to make it to Oregon. Gotcha, Jenny. Is somebody going to go live for the next gem show in Minneapolis? That would be cool. I'd like watching that. The next gem show I can get at is I'm going to do another live. I enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. I wouldn't do a gem show that big like the first one I did. I wouldn't go and just visit that thing. There's just too many people, too much chaos. But being able to focus on the camera and doing the beautiful work that I like to do with the camera, that eliminated a lot of people I just didn't need to have in my brain at the moment, and I was able to focus them out and focus on what I was doing. So it was a lot of fun. And yes, Jackie, you need to go live, Brian says. We'll watch your lives. Heck yeah. Sounds like a good video, Jenny, Jackie, and Soul all out for a rock hunt. When I was in Minnesota in 2019, I wasn't really looking for rocks, so I just didn't realize how much Lake Superior was right in front of me, and the amazing shit I could have found. And I was just walking all over it because I spent a lot of time on Lake Superior Beach, just kind of roaming and wondering what kind of rocks were below my feet. Hello, Off Your Rocker. How you doing? Good to see you here. Thanks for showing up. I'm just kind of going through and showing these Herkimers. It's quite possible there are some kind of rocks like that, but I'm so new to the rock hounding. I've never rock hounded in Iowa. I was thinking about going to Keokuk Geodes like Jeff was talking about, but it's just too late in the trip to go do some more digging. And I'm not sure what he cost, but I think when I checked, it wasn't all that cheap. He's selling some pretty good buckets last year, though. 5-gallon buckets of some with yellow exteriors, and it was a certain amount per bucket. Yeah, the Mississippi River, we find a lot of abalone shells, a lot of broken pieces, because back in the early days of Davenport's history, there were so many abalone shells. People just used to sit on the riverbank of the Mississippi here, and they'd make buttons out of shells. And there's places where there's tons of just bits and bits of blues and whites of the abalone that you see normally. So we have a lot of those clams that produce those cool colors. I just never really examined too many of the rocks closely. That would probably be a different part of Iowa. We have the Wapsipinicon close to here. We have Duck Creek, which is just a small creek until everything starts melting in the spring, and then it's the major floodway that empties into the Mississippi. We have the Maquoketa River, but that's like 2 hours away, an hour and a half. It's a cool river and all, but I just never spent much time there. I got a little time in the morning. I might go walk the same stretch of river I've always walked and just look at the rocks a little different because I've spent quite a bit of time on the Mississippi around here. Everybody says, yeah, they eat the clams here. I'm just not a clam eater. They're more like mussels, is what they call them, and they're good. People like them. I've seen people eat them right out of the river, just crack them open and eat them like you would an oyster, which to me I find kind of gross. I could not eat something like that, all runny and snotty, looking like it does. And I've never been a big fan of clams or mussels, you know, the kind you buy in the store. So there you go, Jackie. Yeah, Dubuque is a little north of us by a couple hours at least. Cool place. I've been there a few times just to kind of roam around on little road trips. And you got me curious of what might come out of the Mississippi. When I was here 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and the previous 5 years before that, I never thought about what a rock might look like back then. Chippewa Valley. Heck yeah. Somebody go and get some video and send out a video for us. I got to be back in Oregon on the 22nd, which is a Monday for work. 22nd of April. And I'll be back to the grind. And Jackie, Elk River, is that another one in Minnesota? Tell work that I'm busy. I've got other plans, motherfuckers. I thought about calling the boss and telling him I needed another week, but he already let me have 3 weeks and he's paying me for 2 weeks, so I guess I gotta behave a little bit. Don't want to make him mad and have him fire me. I kind of like my job. And I want him to give me a leave of absence in November so I can have all winter off and then come back and get my job in the spring. I was stuck in a toll booth. They're threatening to take me to jail for not paying my tolls. Yeah. My boss is a smart guy. He would not believe that. There's a small possibility he's watching my channel now. I think he has better things to do, but you never know. I've been pretty vocal with my channel and that I'm producing it and then putting out all kinds of content as much as I can. And if I can get a picture of his wife, that would probably be the prettiest lady he would want a picture of. Anal glaucoma. I can't see my ass going nowhere. I've heard that one before. Brian's Soda Lady. I don't think I've seen Brian's Soda Lady. I'll probably miss that video. Mr. Jax, come here, you bugging at the window. He was supposed to go outside so bad. Oh, poor guy. Say hi to the crowd right here. Say hi to him. Meow. Uh-oh, did I set the dog off again? Is he looking for another kitty cat? Yeah, Cheryl's kind of funny. Actually, y'all are quite funny in your own moments. Ooh, focus. Yeah, I was definitely hoping to find a few pieces that were a little bigger as far as Herkimers, but you can't really complain. There was 2.5 more hours of light. I could have actually stayed a little longer, but like I said, I was freezing cold, soaking, muddy. Come here, Jax. Come on. Quit bugging. He keeps rolling down the windows every time he steps up here. Rolls down the windows, locks the doors almost every time. Alright, let's look at a little focus here. Way too much light. Mr. Jax. Mr. Buddy. Cattail. Jax, you're blocking the picture, buddy. What are you doing? My cats have not rang the horn. They have honked the horn many a times. Even got one of my co-workers that showed up at the store at the same time as me, and the cats were just laying on the horn. He said it was going off for like 2 minutes while I was in the grocery store. Let's see, I think the sun has gone back down behind the house, so I can get rid of these guys now. That sun got pretty bright for a minute. I'll show the little guy again. So cute. And more cattail, of course. Mr. Jax, what are you doing? Meow. You want to smell the rock? Oh, yeah, what is that? Oh, get some crystal scratchings. Yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah. Mr. Jax. Oh, now I really got cat hair everywhere. Look at all that cat hair. That's just from touching him once. Here, I'll give him a nice swipe down the back, and a little squeeze, and look at that. That's how bad my cat is shedding at the moment. And he's been doing that since pretty much the moment we got to Arkansas. Right now here in Davenport, Iowa, we are 60 degrees, and it was kind of cloudy for most of the day and a little windy, but the clouds have kind of peeled away, and we've got 3/4 sunny skies here. Yeah, another cold front going through Texas. That's one that can get quite warm, is Texas. Big thunderstorms too, probably. Tons of lightning, tons of loud thunder. Flash floods, probably. Yeah. I like the big thunder and I like the big lightning. Big storms, it's something we don't get in Central Oregon. We get nice, light, drizzly rain. It'll last 15, 20 minutes, sometimes an hour. Once a year, it does that, maybe twice a year. It'll do a very light sprinkle rain for an entire day or two. But we do not get big downpours. We don't get big thunder. We don't get big lightning. And just last night at my aunt's house out in Joslyn, Illinois, the purple clouds moved in and it was lightning for 15, 20 minutes, just lighting up the entire sky. And then the winds moved in heavily. We were having good 20-mile-per-hour gusts. And then the rain started, and it started out and coming out in drops that when it hit windows, it splattered out that big, just big pelting raindrops. And we all smoke cigarettes, so we're not allowed to smoke in my aunt's house. So we go out to the garage, and you're 3/4 of the way soaked on a little 40-foot journey running between the house and the garage. And yeah, Jenny, thunderstorms are awesome in the vehicle, but when you got a nice big picture window to look out of, that's just as cool too. Chris, you taking off? Someone needs you to be safe. Soul says to be safe. Better have a safety meeting before you leave. I've been safe all day. I've been attending regular safety meetings every 15, 20 minutes. We have a little hill here called Lookout Point, and the hill versus where the Mississippi River is, way down here, is probably 300 feet total, but it's stretched out over a mile and a half. Got a nice quick downhill and then a gentle downhill to the river. It's what's called the Mississippi Valley. And so far, spring hasn't really hit here, because when spring hits, it floods. The Mississippi comes out of its riverbanks and it goes past a huge parking lot that's like 2 blocks wide, and then it goes up River Drive and it floods over First Street and Second Street. In bad years, it floods over Third Street and Fourth Street, and we're talking 3-4 foot depths on really bad years up on Fourth Street, flooding into Fifth Street, where Sixth Street, the hill starts to go up, and that's where the valley starts to end. So it doesn't go up too far up the hill from most places here in Davenport. But when it floods, I mean, we've had the Mississippi flood 23 feet out of its banks. And that was one of the years where Fifth Street was all flooded up, approaching Sixth Street, and people were kayaking and catching fish on First Street and Second Street and on River Drive, playing in the river like normal. We got all kinds of cool videos of the dikes busting and just rushing water coming into the city. And I say really cool, but, millions and millions and millions of dollars of damage. And no matter what you do to prepare, the floods like that, they just come in, and the levee busts so quickly. I mean, I watched one break back in probably 2018 or something like that. It broke right on the river, and they'd been protecting it for a couple weeks, preparing, and then all of a sudden the center of it, the top of it, kind of caved in, and then boom, everything came in, wiped out the entire sandbag area they had taken, and within 7 or 8 minutes, the entire parking lot was covered in 5 feet of water. People were running out of the businesses to their vehicles, hopping in and speeding off as fast as they could. It was a phenomenal break in the downtown Davenport levee. All that was keeping all those River Drive and First and Second Streets from flooding. But yeah, when it busted, half hour later, there was water all throughout downtown Davenport for a couple miles straight. The river grew instantly. And it does that almost every year. We have our really bad years and we have our shallow years here in Davenport, but I've been through quite a few bad years, and of course I always lived up on the hill, so I never had to experience the Mississippi River flooding in my home. But there's entire neighborhoods with several hundred houses that just was completely flooded. Sometimes happens every year, sometimes not as bad, like I said. That is part of living along the Mississippi River and in the Midwest, because if the Mississippi's flooding, that means everything north, all the way to the tip of Minnesota, all the way down, all those rivers feeding into the Mississippi, all converging as they go all the way down to the coast. Just everywhere along the Mississippi floods, and really drastic. And yes, Soul, if you live in the middle of it and you're in one of those low-lying neighborhoods close to the Mississippi, you will be flooded out in an instant on some occasions. Sometimes you'll get flooded and it'll recede, and then it'll flood again because you had a massive rainstorm up in Dubuque or in Wisconsin. And, any water that comes from up north for us comes down the Mississippi through all the other rivers that are attached. It can be very scary and very dangerous. It's always extremely expensive. Shit, we didn't live anywhere near a river as a kid, and until my dad fixed the problem, We used to get 2 feet of water in our basement during a heavy fucking storm. It just starts seeping in under the basement and come up through the floor, and before you knew it, there was water everywhere. But he went out one rainstorm and he dug a huge trench along the side of the house and like 5 feet out. He lined it with gravel and put some pipe in it to channel all the water off to the side of the house and out to the front of the street. And we only got water in the basement after that if it was extremely, extremely bad. And so some people manage their water systems better than the Mississippi and all the rivers that flow into it. So in a place where 40 years ago it used to flood, they've dammed it and they've created different ways for the water to channel off. So sometimes, in certain places they don't flood anymore like that. I know they did the same thing back in Bend, Oregon. They put in a few stoppages and dams and made lakes in areas where lakes weren't before, reservoirs. And so their flooding problem isn't so bad, and now they manage that water throughout the entire summer, release it into the farmlands and the irrigation systems, and that's how Pacific Northwest handles a lot of their irrigation and water situation, especially with all the mountains and all the mountain snow coming and melting all at the same times. Without management, there would be massive flooding in parts where they built city like they usually do. Get a few of these smaller Herkimers put away so I don't lose them. They are quite tiny. Yeah, that was one thing I noticed, Jenny, and being in Minnesota all summer. How many lakes are there with just a tiny little dam controlling the flow so that it stayed a certain water level pretty much all year? I thought that was pretty cool. Hello again, Barbara. Welcome back. We're kind of talking about rainstorms and flooding. 775, Brian, that's Arizona, right? Not Montana. Montana would be like 406 kind of area. Start getting a few of these wrapped up while I'm talking. Get them in Ziploc baggies so they're kind of safe. Got some saltwater taffy. Usually not a fan of saltwater taffy. It tastes good, but the sugar hurts my teeth. But when I was in Florida, I got a free box for purchasing a bunch of t-shirts, so I decided I'd eat some. Just kind of keep it hidden away from the bad tooth over here. That kind of sucks, Cindy. Sounds like you guys could use a little rain. Alright, where did those go? There they are. Up on the dash. I've gone to enough places and hunted enough rocks over the last couple of weeks. I had to start packaging them and labeling them in Ziplocs and stuff like that. So Brian, I went south out of Oregon down to Klamath Falls and I was supposed to cut across to Interstate 80. I missed that turn, and it pushed me onto the highway going towards Reno. But before I got to Reno, way before, it kicked me over onto like the 70 or something like that, which took me a little southern route just below 80 and down into Arkansas that way. And Cindy, you're in Canada, like Alberta, Canada, Badlands? Nice, Barbara. The Rickerall, Oregon Fairgrounds this weekend. Gotcha, Cindy. Yeah, I don't think I got as far down as Elko, Brian. It made me turn off early. 45 minutes from the Montana border, very southern Canada. I want to come to Canada so bad and hit up some of the fishing and the lakes. Canada's fishing is way better. It's good in Minnesota and good in Wisconsin and good a lot of places, but it's just not the same as Canada waters and the purity of the water and the quality of the fish. And they get so dang big. The walleyes and the northern pikes and the 40 inchers and beautiful bass and stuff like that. Definitely love it. Rickerall. Kyle's gonna go to the Rick Roll Rock and Gem show. Is he actually going to the gem show with you? Or meeting you there or something? I heard him talk about it. Barbara, here in Illinois, I just paid like 18 bucks for a 3-day out-of-state fishing license. For my fishing license in Oregon, I believe it's like $55 for a resident to fish for the year, which is kind of spendy, but what isn't expensive these days? They're overcharging for everything. And I might get in a little fishing tomorrow here in Illinois. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I got to be at a dinner at about 6. And I did a little fishing the other day. I didn't catch nothing. I just sat on the river and just enjoyed doing nothing. It'd been almost 2 weeks since I just relaxed and didn't do a shitload of driving and a bunch of digging. You got to pay for a permit to go hunting for rocks and stuff off your rocker. We have to pay for wilderness passes to go out and hike in our own mountains here in Oregon. That's your outdoor permit or whatever it's called. Too many people are destroying the forest and leaving trash and starting fires and stuff like that, so they started charging people. All of our little waterfalls, a lot of them, you have to pay $5 a day to go in to see them. You go out to Smith Rock, which is a state park. You gotta go and you gotta pay your $5 to park. Nice, Cindy. Only 25 bucks for a fishing license. That's pretty cool. Last time I saw those prices was when I was like 20, trying to get a fishing license in Iowa. Here we can hunt in state forests. We're just not allowed to hunt in state parks. And if we find anything on BLM land, um, then you can't resell it. And nature's free for Brian in Nevada. Pretty much nature's free here in Oregon. They just have a few rules on how you can do it. And I agree too. You should not have to pay to go out and collect what's natural. You shouldn't have to pay for fishing. But when so many people before us, over the many, many years before us, have abused the situation and over harvested, whether it's fish or it's rocks or it's crystals, and whether it's deer, whether it's bear, squirrels, people seem to want to take all of it for their benefit instead of just taking their little bit and coexisting with Mother Nature. They want to dominate it and have every bit of it. Yeah, them casinos are a nice little help for a little extra tax money. That's always good. Yeah, it definitely got dark quick here in Davenport. I'll hook up my little Jedi light. Pow. I gotta wave my hand at it all the time because it's motion censored. Alright, where was that? Oh yeah, Mohawk. Mohawk Valley. Alright. One bag down. Yeah, alright. So my van's got a slight little lean to the back and to the right because of my last 2 weeks adventures. I have quite a few bits of quartz in the van, even though I've already started giving some of it away. Some of the family members have gotten some, and cousins. I gave away a bunch of obsidian in the last 3 days, a bunch of Oregon beach agates to cousins. They were very excited. They've never really seen mahogany or golden sheen or silver sheen. So they're all pretty excited to get some of that. It was very fun to give it to them. We have a few places like that here in Iowa where people ride their quads and their side-by-sides, their dirt bikes, three-wheelers they still ride around to the grocery stores and to the bars. You travel how you need to in the back country. I'd love to live in a place where I could ride my quad everywhere and not have to worry about the cops. A lot of places the cops just are all mad about it. You try riding them on the street, doing wheelies and burnouts and stuff. Yeah, California's definitely got a bunch of rules for everything. So it's been kind of different. Doing Wednesday night lives from different parts of the country. I thought it was kind of cool that no matter where 6 p.m. is, it registers in the time zone that you guys are in. So if I was doing it at 6 p.m. here and your time zone's 9 o'clock, when you're in that different time zone, it reads as it starts at your time zone, not as 6 p.m. I thought that was very cool to find out. I didn't know that before, but once I started traveling and I was looking at my live streams and time zones and stuff like that, when I noticed that it automatically sets it. It definitely has been fun. Chris, are you out of here? If you guys are out of here, have a wonderful night. I'll be putting out another hyperlapse video. Last Saturday, when I traveled from Florida to New York, I did most of it on Saturday, and I started just after dark, and I started doing hyperlapses, and I was doing 5 and 10-minute hyperlapses, which is an hour to 2 hours worth of recording, and I did it from just after sun up until probably a half hour after dark. So I've got like 6 more hyperlapse videos coming from the first one's Deltona, Florida to Jacksonville, and then Jacksonville to into Georgia, and then all the way through Georgia almost to the next state, and then crossing into the next state. And you know, there's another 10 or 6 or 7 minute hyperlapse, and all the way up till I had almost crossed the border of New York after the entire day's worth of driving and doing hyperlapses. And I ended up having to drive 3 hours the next day to make it to the mine in New York. I think we're about done here, Jenny. I've showed off all my rocks and I've talked about as much as I can. I appreciate you guys being here. It's been a lot of fun. I like having people around to show my rocks too. I still haven't fixed my lighting system, so that is one of the things on the works on the time back in Oregon. I want to get a nice microphone, nice Bluetooth microphone for better sound, and get a couple lights that work a little better for when I'm doing these kind of lives. And I had to pick up a new selfie stand because I rolled a big fat rock over my last one with my phone attached. How's it going, Karen? Good to see you. You're a little late. I put away all my Herkimer mine finds. I got some great drusies. We'll see you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. in Oregon for Hump Day Happy Hour. That will be the next one of those. And like I said, there should be another video out tomorrow, if not 2. That's all right, Karen. There'll be some on-light videos coming up, and I'll be posting some photos of these guys. Get them a little bit more cleaned up. I only got a few little tiny Herkimers, and then a bigger one, and then got a really cool one about that big, and the rest are all druzy pieces. Herkimer druzy. I didn't even know it existed till I started smashing it out of the rock. Complete fun. I enjoyed it. It was $100 a day to dig, and I was exhausted by the end of the day. That's for sure. go. One more. Here's something I haven't put away yet, Karen. I was gifted an Iowa geode today. It's my first and only Iowa geode. I gave one of my friends a bunch of, or a few pieces of obsidian and a bunch of Oregon beach agates, and he's like, I've got this for you. I was like, I'll take it. And then I left it all taped up, and I didn't see it until I started my my live stream tonight, and then I showed it off. And there's the other side of it. Very cool. I was shocked that he gave me such a big geode, and it looks so awesome inside. And if I had a few more days, he knows of several mines where he was willing to take me to go dig some of my own, but I'm leaving tomorrow, and leaving Friday morning, maybe Thursday night, and I got a big dinner to go to tomorrow night. Ooh, that looks cool that way too, with just a little less light. All the sparklies. What's the other side look like? Yeah. Looks like the stars twinkling. Ta-da! And I'm about to wrap that one up real good so it'll travel safe back to Oregon. Karen, I would definitely love another week, but then it's wearing on the cats. They're very anxious to get out and play, and there's only so many places I can get them out on the road. Mr. Jax, he walks on a leash real well, but Miss Jinxie 2 does not, so he's been out quite a bit and on the leash and the harness, and Miss Jinxie girl, she just doesn't seem to like it, and so she hasn't been out a bunch, but it also doesn't seem to bother her. I catch Mr. Jax, he's bugging at the window. He wants to go out, and if I wasn't paying attention, he would go ahead and step out and do his thing if I would let him. But I'm worried he'd disappear for a few days and kind of put a wrench into the situation that I got going. I got to be back to work Monday the 22nd, which is the following Monday. And so this late in the game, I definitely got to be on my P's and Q's, and I got 22 hours to drive to make it to Montana, and so that I can spend one day on the Yellowstone trying to find some cool stuff on the Yellowstone before I got to drive home. And after being so far away from home and on road for so long, I'm really looking forward to getting back into my spot and a nice little bit of comfortable, how home is. It's just always nice being back after you've been gone a while. Yeah, I gotta make a few inquiries about where I should go. See if Theo will answer and point me in the right direction, or see if Katie will point me in the right direction. And Jeff says that 406 findings would definitely point me in the right direction and might even join me, take me to some cool spots for the day. So here in the next day, I'm going to, send out a few messages asking for some help. If I go by myself and try to plan it myself, I'll end up on a section of river they closed just because somebody heard I was coming. They're like, oh no, you can't. We got a huge rock fest coming up in a week. You don't get to come in. That's what happened to me, if you haven't heard, on Graves Mountain. I didn't plan ahead and I didn't call ahead, so the morning I wanted to go dig there and have fun, I call them, and because you have to have permission, and they're like, nope, we're closed. This mountain's closed. We got a big dig coming on the 22nd, so nobody's allowed in. And then they wouldn't let me in by myself because they don't like people going one, by themselves. They say it's too dangerous. And I just kind of laughed at them. I was like, bro, I live my entire life and I go everywhere alone. I'm safe. I'm a billy goat. Until I start drinking too much and then I fall off my bucket. On a live stream. But the rest of the time, I'm a pretty good billy goat. Theo's still in Florida, but Travis and Kate would be good to hit up. I'll definitely try. I always enjoy watching Katie did stuff, and she's always finding amazing stuff. And I'm a little new to 406, so I haven't seen a lot of his videos yet. I've missed a lot of videos since I started the vacation. That's been hard to keep up with. I've caught a few here and there, and a few right before bed occasionally, but the other day it said I had 70 different things on YouTube to watch that were brand new over the last 2.5 weeks. I was like, oh boy, I got some catching up to do. How's Allison doing over there? Has anybody stopped in to say Allison or say hi to Allison and the meteorite talk? Or are they just filming tonight and they're not actually doing their premiere or whatever? Maybe that is tomorrow night. I was supposed to look into that last week and figure that out a little better. Yeah, Brian, I heard about that a couple weeks ago. Several people were talking about fishing lures and making them. That would be cool if they worked. I remember watching Theo's video where he made a fishing lure. That was pretty fun. And here soon, if I chose to, I could probably start making fishing lures. That would be probably one of the third or fourth things on the list of what I want to do with the rocks, but damn near anything here right off the bat with a fresh saw and a cabochon machine is going to be extremely fun. Can't wait to start cutting Malawi baby agates and my Brazilian agate. I got a big old 2-pounder. Hopefully a 6-inch saw can handle it. I should be able to give it nice little rotations so that it cuts the whole thing. And I want to cut my coral fingers. I've got some of those from Florida. Crystallized, agatized coral fingers. So excited for those. Picked up a couple more geodes in Florida. That should be pretty nice. Damn. I got cat hair in my mouth. I have a lot of cat hair in my mouth lately, and then not to mention all my hair. I take a bite of food, and this entire part of my mustache wants to go in with the food all the time. So I'm chewing food, and I got all that stuck up in my mouth. It's like, ah. You pull it out, and it's all covered with food that's stuck out to there. The joys of having a beard. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I'm extremely happy that you decided to join me again. I always enjoy it. I got to figure out what to show for next week. 2 weeks from now, my saw should be in. I'm thinking about ordering it tomorrow during the day and have it so it's got a few days of shipping so I can get it, middle of next week, maybe by the end of next week. But it won't be too long after that. I'll have some cutting, and I'll start with a lot of cutting first. I'll save the polishing till I got a good firm grip on the cutting situation, and after that everything will start going into categories because I'll have to start with, the lowest grade and start the grinding and then start moving up, but I'll have to do it in big batches. We got almost 10 pounds of Malawi baby agates to cut, and I'm going to put them in ice cube trays just like I've seen others do, and I'm going to cut them all up on hyperspeed and put them in the trays without looking, and then tape each 2-pack so that they stay that way, and get a dozen trays cut up, 144 Malawi baby agates. And then after that I'll do reveals, put them all back in the trays the same way, and then I'll start doing the polishing and learning that process because I got a lot to learn there. Karen looks great without a beard, huh? Isn't that nice? I was thinking about doing the Covington 6-inch saw with the cab combo on the side, and I believe it at the very end it's got the polishing wheel, but they send it with a leather polishing wheel, which I'd immediately try to switch it out for Kyle's system with the Berber carpet wheel. I think I like that better, and he said it grabs less rocks and throws them across the way, so I don't really need to be flinging rocks anywhere. And I've already got Berber carpet. I picked that up like fucking 6 months ago off the job site. Just little 12 by 12 patches. I figured that would be enough for what I would need. But yep, I'll order it through the high-tech website and the Covington brand. I just like how it looked, and it's lightweight, so I can pull it from my storage unit, put it in my passenger seat, drive it over to work, use it for the weekend, and then drive it back easily. It, it doesn't weigh an extreme amount of weight. It should work really well for me. And I've been thinking about it for 4 months. I was going to get the saw before my vacation, but I wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen with the vacation. Wasn't sure how much it was going to cost me, even though I got money coming in. I just wasn't sure, so I bit my tongue and waited. Right? It'll only cut a 3-inch rock, but you cut 3 inches into a rock and then start rotating it. You can now cut a 5.5 to 6-inch rock with, proper rotating the rock through the cut, and at least that's what I think. I have not attempted this yet, so I could be absolutely wrong. It may sound good on paper. But I will be trying to cut bigger rocks and just doing the rotation. Even if I can only cut a 4 or 5 inch rock, not a full 6-inch rock, I'll push the limits as good as I can, though. I've used tile saws quite a bit to cut a lot of tile, and a little extra grinding, I don't think that would hurt, especially for a rookie. And I do have quite a few rocks that are a little bit bigger than a 6-inch saw should handle, and I do want to try and get through them. We'll see though. We'll few practice cuts on some of the bigger stuff. I'll use stuff not as important as a Brazilian agate, or there's a couple other agates that I want to cut that are just, bigger chunks. And who knows, but things may go well, and in a couple months I might buy a 10-inch saw. I've been seeing some for around $500 brand new. The high tech, you know, standard 10-inch saw. It looks cool, and Agate Dad uses his quite a bit with much success. Not right off the bat. I have to go with one or the other, and I have so much small stuff to cut that I think a 6-inch would do it good. I'll just try to press the limits. And I do want to make sure that, I mean, even though I sound really excited and this sounds really fun, maybe it turns out that after cutting 200 things that I'm just not as happy as I thought I would be with doing it. So before I go a little deeper in, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. It's going to be very therapeutic. Like I think like collecting rocks has been therapeutic for me, and making the jewelry stuff has been very therapeutic and awesome to do. I'm pretty sure cutting and grinding will be the same thing, but I think I should start with the trim saw and cut small stuff and polish small stuff, and then maybe move up to a 10-inch. Either way, they'll be stored in the storage unit, and they'll have to be transferred to the van, and they'll have to be transferred to the shop at work where I'll get my electricity and my water. And yeah, I just gotta go slow and make sure that, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm loving everything about rock hounding and all the crystals and all the fun that goes with it, and very much looking to make cabochons and knife handles and other stuff. And I even have a good idea for my Maker's Challenge next year. I just got to get it under work and start cutting and polishing and start assembling and doing video properly so that I can get an invite. And throw out a few hints and a few clues about what I'm doing. And I've told my idea to Jeff, but I asked him to keep it quiet. He thought it was very cool and quite extreme for a guy who's never cut anything or polished anything. It would be a very ambitious project that would take a little bit of time. So we'll see how it goes. Brian still uses 10-inch lapidary. Is that a 10 or a 14? And a 14-inch slab saw for, it's already been converted into a flat lap? Or is it yet to be converted? It's still a slab saw, just needs to be reworked and made into something else. I've liked the vibrating flat laps that I've seen. Not that I would be purchasing one anytime soon, but yeah, I definitely thought that was a cool idea. I like the idea of just setting pieces in there properly and letting it do its thing. A 7-inch saw, that's pretty cool, Brian. I looked at tile saws right off the bat, but then with a little advice from Jared and Kyle, I decided that a rock saw just might be the way to go versus a tile saw. And even at that, the tile saw I wanted was, if it was like $800 for the biggest one they got and all that. They've got cheaper ones, but you know, this rock saw ain't cheap. The base price is like 1,300 and change for the saw cab combo. And then I'm gonna want thin centered blades, and I'm gonna want a few extra wheels, and one of the wheels is an expando wheel, so there's pads or paper to come with that, and the sandpaper. And then I think it comes with one of the grinding wheels, but I want to purchase a couple extras just so I don't have to be switching out wheels all the time. And so yeah, it's not gonna be cheap. It's gonna be fun though. Gotcha. Selling a slab saw so you can have a better flat lap. That makes more sense, Brian. I have a chunk of rainbow obsidian that requires a 14-inch slab saw. It's literally a foot long and like 8 inches thick, and I've just chipped a little piece off the end of it and just can barely see some color, but I don't have anything around, or I don't know anybody with giant equipment that's close enough to say help. I'm thinking though, when I go visit Kyle in the next couple weeks, that I'll bring it with and ask and see if there's anything he could or wanted to do with it, and search for that perfect color so he can have a few slabs out of the big piece and maybe help me out. That would be cool. Maybe if Kyle won't help me, maybe Karen's got a big old saw she can help with. Because I don't know anybody local around here. I haven't really reached out to local rock hounds. I joined the Central Oregon Rock Hounding Club, but they hold their meetings on Wednesday when I'm doing my lives, so, and then I started my vacation, so I missed at least the first two meetings, and I think this weekend they're doing a field trip out to their mine, their claim. So I'm gonna miss out on that one too. But if they'll let me do a live stream during the next video, I'll go and get some footage of that and try and hang out with everybody and show what that rock hounding club does. They sound pretty fun. I'm not sure which claim it is, Karen. They sent out a newsletter and it was in the middle of my vacation, so I didn't really get to read the whole thing. I didn't take the time to. It's located probably somewhere in the Madras area around the Polka Dot and Richardson's Rock Ranch. I would guess it's in somewhere close to that area. And they might have more than one. They were just talking about one when I signed up about their yearly field trip. They do it once. And then someone else, some out-of-towners that are part of the group, they were asking about a trip to Glass Butte and if anybody knew and wanted to go and join them. So they're pretty fun, but I heard they don't have their own lapidary section where, like I see others, they can come in and use the saws and the flat laps and you know, do all that stuff. They don't have anything like that with this rock club, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's still cool to meet local rock hounds and make new friends. That would be fun. And yeah, once I get back, I'll go visit Kyle and drop off a few things for him and pick up my recent open box. Within the next few weeks, I want to at least go to the Richardson's Rock Ranch once and take a look, and I'm sure I'll purchase a few things. That I never thought about looking into, Karen. I wasn't sure how to look for people that might have saws or some kind of group or club like that. You say rec or community college in the area? Yeah, I'll take a look. Jeff wants to go to that Richardson's Rock Ranch too. I told him if I can get phone service, I'll do a video chat with him and he can pick out some rocks and we'll trade money and I'll send them to him. Because last time I went, you were still allowed to dig there back in 2016. And I came out with like 15 thunder eggs. And they all turned out to be just your plain blue ones, or there was nothing in them. One of my buddies got a nice one, a 3-part thunder egg, and when he cut it open, it had yellow and orange and red and white and blue in it, all in concentric colors. Each agate was, or each thunder egg was the same, with the same patterns of banding all across, all three connected. It was very, very beautiful. The sad thing is I found it, and it turned out to be 3 on one side and 3 on the other side in a boomerang shape. And my silly ass smacked it in the middle with a hammer and broke it, and then saw the yellows, the whites, the reds, and the blues, and realized immediately that I had made a mistake. He ended up keeping the one part of the 3, and then we ended up kind of high grading our rocks, and we ended up leaving a bunch by the side of the road right before we got back to the shop to purchase them. And that one just got left on the side of the road there for someone else to find years ago. All right. My light's starting to be a pain in the ass. So I guess we're going to have to end this live stream. Thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate it. Had a great time, as always. I'll work on something cool to show off next week. I got a lot of gift shop items that I bought from Ron Coleman, and a few from Jim Coleman, and a few other things in Daytona, Florida that I'd like to show off. So, you guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy the next view of whoever you're watching, whoever's live stream, and you guys enjoy the night, and I'll talk to you next time. Rock on, everybody.